Southern Baptist. And that's been a struggle that I missed the memo. I didn't know it was supposed to be. They didn't tell me. But it's become like that. And they kindly have let, in so many words, they've let me know that. Yeah, I've been told we didn't belong. I've been yelled out in the middle of the street. Had a pastor stop me and literally screamed at me so loud that people sitting on the front door to this hotel heard him yelling at me, and I was at the corner. Because I didn't look like him. And that particular day I really didn't. I had my jeans and tennis shoes on, and he had on a nice, I don't know if it was a three-piece suit, but it was a nice suit that I didn't like anyway. But he let me know that the way I looked, I did not look like his image. And he couldn't believe that I was a pastor because I didn't look like him. And those are the false images that God is talking about. And I was extremely nice to this guy. I was, yes sir, no sir. I gave him all the respect in the world. And I think that made him angry because I respected him. Because he was trying to ride on my chain and I couldn't give it to him. Because his image, like I said, of what I should look like wasn't the image he was looking like. And that's why here, like most Calvary Chapel, well, not most of them, was one of my Calvary Chapel pastors, they do wear suits and ties to church. I mean, that won't happen here. I'm sorry, it just won't happen. We want you to wear a suit and tie, but it's not in the memo. It's not in the rules and regulations. Flip-flop shorts, rollers in your hair. You come with your toothbrush hanging out. We don't care. Just come ready to glorify Jesus Christ and give him all the praise. And at the end of the day, I'm going to still shake your hand and hug you. I'm going to try to make you become a Jeff Gordon fan or a Chicago Bears fan. As long as you do that, we just sharing the love. That's how we roll here. And that's what we should be. And as we think about that particular thing, let's look at Acts 17 and 23. Acts 17 and 23 says, as I was going through your city and looking closely at the objects you worshipped. Now think about that. Jesus is finna go through a lot of these churches and he's going to ask himself, is that me? You ever see some of these TV programs and they got the criminal and we can clearly see the criminal's face and they say, isn't that you? And they say, that ain't me. They have a mole on the side of their cheek and they do the little mouse thing. They say, ain't that your mole? No, that mole on the room's my mole. And they say that ain't me. I don't know who that is. And we see it all the time. They have them on the surveillance cameras literally breaking in the car, waving at the cameras. Criminals don't know no better. They just, they waving at the camera. And the policeman is saying, ain't that your hat? Like with your name on? Because you double up, and they, that ain't my name. I spell Erick, E-R-I-C-K. That says, oh, that do say E-R-I-C. Now, that ain't me because my name spelled E-R-I-C. That's what Jesus is saying. He said, as I was going through your city and looking closely at objects you worship, I noticed an altar with this written on it. To an unknown God. I'm telling you about the unknown God you worship. Why do you think that is? I wasn't there, but maybe what Jesus is saying is it wasn't physically written anywhere. But it's like I said, I went to the church and Jesus was cool. So maybe what Jesus is saying is when I came in some of these churches, the God y'all was worshiping was unknown to me. And that's why when Jesus says in his words, for those of you who come to me, who have spoke my name, who have taught my word, I have to say to you, turn away from me, for I don't even know you. That's why he's turning them away. Because he's going to say, you didn't teach about me, the whole me. You taught about me, the image you created of me. So because of that image of me, I don't know you. So like I always say to people, there's billions of people who's going to spend their whole life in church, die, and go to hell. There's people in the grave now that went to hell immediately because they spent their whole life in church. And then it says in Matthew 7, 15, Matthew chapter 7, verse 15, he made it real simple, because just in case if the people didn't get it, he now had to speak to the people that was teaching it, and he says, watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but unwarily they are furious wolves. In other words, he's saying, this is how they became what they became, by making the image of me, which me in some churches is the pastor. And so the pastor, because he has to have an appreciation day, because I got this card in the mail one time for this particular local church, and it said, when you send your money in for the pastor's appreciation day, put his name and his wife's name on it, and send no less than $150. They sent that in my mailbox for me to send $150. So I wrote it, I ain't got good sense. I put that card back in the envelope, sent it back, and said, please explain to me in 150 ways why I should send you $150 to teach the word of God, which is free. Of course, I've not heard anything back from them, but that's cool. I wrote my name and address. I was bold. If I'm going to send this to you, I'm going to be bold enough to say, come back at me. Because I wanted to know, how can you do this? How can you literally ask your people for this when God said it's simply, you can just stand up and just teach people about me, show people who I truly am and what I'm truly about, and teach them for the simple fact that I came down here for one reason, to die. Jesus came on this earth for he did many miracles on this earth, but he came here knowing he was going to die. Most of us, we only think we're going to die, but we don't know the when, the where, and the how. Jesus knew, period, he was not going to see an old age. He was sent here for the simple fact that we was broken, we was beat up, we was lying, we was crooked, and we was having fun and partying, and we was celebrating, saluting, and doing all kind of crazy things, and he came here to give us a choice. And we have to make a decision what to do with that choice. As we look at verse 5, and then it says, in Exodus verse 5, it says, never worship them or serve them, because what I, the Lord your God, am a God who does not tolerate rivals. I punish children for their parents' sin to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me. Now, first you want to look at, here's what we see God saying. Not to bow down or serve any other God. We've totally crucified that one. Because we just, we all went and saw the Passion of Christ. I mean, we saw criminals confessing 30-year crime. I mean, they done killed somebody 30 years ago when they was 12, and they confessing. So it was a good thing that they gave their life to Christ. But out of that, we imaged what Jesus would look like. And the sad thing about it is that particular actor that played Jesus can't buy a job. If you see Mel Gibson's life, he all drunk, beating up his girlfriend. He just done went plumb fool. So you look at the actor that played Jesus, you look at the one that wrote, directed, and produced it, their lives have took a nosedive completely south. Yep. Now maybe I didn't get the memo, but I got that memo that God has showed up. And he is showing out, and God is saying, yeah, you made millions of dollars in my image, but you did not give back to the community of the Christian faith. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the world I can knock you down. That's right. God's showing I can beat you up. And what God has done in these two guys' lives is he's literally just ripped everything out of them. And we only pray for them because as Christians, we need to pray and lift them up, and hopefully they can come back up and they can go to God and ask for forgiveness. And then they can get their lives back together. And then secondly, we need to look at, as we looked at that particular verse, it said, but now we see the punishment is placed not upon the fathers, but rather the children. Punishing the children for inadequate parents. Something I like to say to my kids, we want to break the generational curse. You think at first God's punishing the child. Now God is saying, nah, I can punish the kids up until 3, 4, 5 generations. And now we want to see why when we see a certain family staying in the same place after generation after generation after generation. Now we need to realize how that family was taught. Somebody didn't stop to say, time out, y'all. Let's break this cycle and let's teach this generation about Christ.